here, and thank you so much for being an energetic match to the content in this video. If I have your attention, my promise is that I will be sure to feed you information that is beneficial to your health. Now, I am an awareness consultant who is passionate about evolving healthcare to the self-care model, where we all can learn more about ourselves through emotional and spiritual intelligence. Now, in today's timeless video, I'm going to be discussing more about the non-physical parts of who we are. And my focus will solely be all about the law of vibration and how we're able to measure it. Now, in the past, spirituality and science have mostly been seen as polar opposites. But now, especially with quantum physics, we are now able to explain many of the spiritual concepts and principles scientifically. And this makes me so excited to be living in this time and space, because the more that we can provide logic to the non-physical, the more that we are able to explore new foundational beliefs that can actually be beneficial to our health. And there are so many of us who live in a constant state of suffering, simply because we don't know any better. We all continue to pass down patterns of suffering from generation to generation. And oftentimes we don't know how to break those energetic cycles, simply because we are not yet aware of them. They are patterns that run subconsciously within our minds, and then it dictates how we show up in life. My whole intention is to ultimately help you understand more of who you truly are. Not who your family says you are, not who society says you are, but who you truly are to the core. So if you have found this video, that means that you, my friend, are a vibrational match to the information that I am sharing today. So let's jump into the first key principle under this law of attraction, which is everything is energy and energy is everything. Now, even our most brilliant and innovative minds from the past have indicated this to be their truth as well. For example, Albert Einstein, he stated the same thing. He said, and I quote, "Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics." End of quote. Another one of our brilliant innovators and a pioneer of electrical technology, Nikola Tesla, said, and I quote, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." End of quote. The law of vibration is always working in your life, whether you believe it or not. And it's the law of vibration that really empowers and drives the law of attraction. So to better explain what this principle is talking about, when we think about a table or a tree or an animal, light, sound, and of course ourselves, everything is energy. And as I mentioned at the beginning, this concept is backed up by quantum physics. So if everything is energy, which again includes us, this means that our thoughts, feelings, and emotions are also energy. And with the inventions of new high-powered microscopes, science is better able to examine the body, which we all know is made up of cells. And within those cells are tissues, atoms, and molecules. And when we zoom in even further, we find that those tissues, atoms, and molecules are basically pure energy. So now that leads us to principle number 2, and that is that energy is always moving. So energy never rests. It never stands still. It's always moving, and it's always in motion. Now, it doesn't move in a random fashion. It actually moves very logically in waves and frequencies. And these are often known as vibrations. But what is the difference between vibrations and frequencies is that a vibration refers to the oscillating and vibrating movement of atoms and particles caused by energy. And frequency, on the other hand, refers to the rate at which the vibration and oscillations occur. So I will be using these two words interchangeably throughout the content of this video. Now, every object has its own unique frequency or vibration. So a chair has its own unique frequency. A dog has its own unique frequency. Our cells have a different vibration or frequency. And anything that is solid or appears solid, including ourselves, are simply cells, atoms, and molecules that are vibrating at a certain frequency. And our frequency is so fast that our eyes cannot pick up on them. And that's why these things appear solid. The same energy can vibrate at different frequencies. So the best way to explain this is to think about radio waves. So all around us are radio waves, but when we use our radio to tune into, let's say, a hard rock station, we're tuning into the specific frequency that that station is at. And if we decide to listen to country, then that's a different frequency. And then if we want to listen and change to the news, that's a whole nother frequency. So same energy, same radio waves, but different frequency. The same goes for ourselves as well. Us humans are a type of energy, but humans can emit that energy at different frequencies. So a person that is good with money, for example, emits a certain vibration or frequency that is different than someone that is poor with money. Someone that attracts terrible relationships and always seems to attract bad people into their lives is emitting a different vibrational energy than someone that attracts loving and positive people into their lives. Another interesting thing to consider is that your vibration and frequency can also influence your health. And interestingly, this vibrational frequency can be measured just as you can measure radio waves and frequencies. So if you know someone who has a lot of constant unrelated health issues, they just seem to always be getting sick in some way, then perhaps the vibrational frequency is causing that. And a lot of times we are also unaware of our vibrations. And what we have learned from our families, our society, our mainstream media, and our culture is a set of vibrational frequency that continues to run throughout life. And this is all based on our consistent, habitual, and predictable ways of thinking and feeling, which are both huge components that contribute to the way that we show up in life. Again, these are largely subconscious. This is not something that we were taught in our education systems. So it does take some effort to change because you first have to become aware of your own frequency. And hopefully this video will help you a bit more. So again, this is why I'm so passionate about being a self-awareness consultant. That's because awareness is key, but awareness alone will not transform your life unless you do something about it. The moment you make a decision is the moment you take your power back. We have all been conditioned to feel powerless because when you're in the state of powerlessness, you believe that you need something or someone else from your exterior world to protect you or to make decisions based on your behalf or to simply fulfill you. And when you are powerless, you are living in fear, which ultimately is the lowest vibration we have access to. It's our lowest level of consciousness because it is the unconscious state. And 95% of the time, the average human is operating subconsciously, which means we're only operating consciously 5% of the time. That means we are habitually doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result. We are ultimately stuck in our lower frequencies. And when we are vibrating at these lower levels, we become victims to life. And we end up giving our power to others to make decisions on our behalf. And as our humanity continues to awaken and become more conscious, we are seeing that our leaders haven't quite been using this power in our best interest. So now is a wonderful time in our human evolution where we are all beginning to awaken to our own infinite potential. So the moment you become aware of your frequency, you can then begin to influence it by understanding it. And you begin to shift it into higher frequencies, which automatically will expand and raise your level of consciousness. Now, I will go more into detail later in the video about a self-awareness assessment that you can take by going to my website. Now, this assessment will actually show you a snapshot of your own energetic profile and your own energetic DNA, so you can become more aware of your conscious state of being on a regular day and also when you trigger. Again, awareness is key, everyone, but it will not transform your life unless you do something about it. by choosing a different frequency. And we do have control over this. It all starts with changing the way that you think, which will then help to change the way that you feel, and ultimately it'll change the way that you show up in life. So before I explain how the self-awareness assessment works, I want to finish with the third and final principle to the law of vibration. And that is, energy is never created or destroyed. So often when we're doing personal development, it's because we want to create or achieve something in our lives. So it could be a new house, it could be a new car, a new relationship, a new career. We want to create things. We came here to be creators. But according to quantum physics, energy is never created or destroyed. It just changes form or changes levels of vibrations. So in truth, we don't create anything. What we want and desire is simply energy that is vibrating at a frequency that you just cannot see yet. So a better way of thinking of this is think about a dog whistle, right? A dog whistle has a pitch and vibratory range that is outside what the human can hear. And that is because our ears and dogs' ears have a different vibrational frequency. Dogs' ears are much more sensitive to sounds, especially high-pitched sounds. But that doesn't mean that the dog whistle does not exist. It's just a pitch that is outside of our vibratory range that our ears simply can't pick up. So when you think about what you want and what you desire in your life, try this new concept and think about it as being just outside that range that you can perceive right now. Because this principle tells us that it's already there. You've just not been able to line up with it energetically. So for the 101 of creation, of how to create things in your life, instead of thinking about creating them and really moving into your action mode, another concept you can now understand is that maybe you can think about recognizing who you truly are to the core. And this will allow you to increase your level of vibration so you can resonate with more of what you desire. So you're able to be in harmony and resonance with it. Now, physical objects, plants, and animals obviously cannot consciously change the vibrational frequency, but we can. We can by changing our thoughts, and especially by changing our feelings and emotions. And the best way to do this is to change your emotional state of being. So this brings me to the self-awareness assessment. It is called the Energetic Leadership Index that enables people to hold up mirrors to their perceptions, their attitudes, their behaviors, and overall leadership capabilities. It's an attitudinal assessment. And this assessment provides a multi-level framework for organizing our understanding of how various aspects of energy are integrated in the human experience. It takes something as intangible as perception and makes it concrete and logical. It is a 70-item web-based survey that enables people to rate themselves using a 5-point Likert scale, ranging from 1 being completely untrue and 5 being completely true. Now, the purpose of the assessment is that as individuals, we view the world through a set of filters. So the concept I want you to grasp here is that if you're wearing blue glasses, then your perception of the world will be blue. If you're obviously wearing green glasses, of course, your perception of the world is going to look green. And we all have these filters, which are unique to each of us because they're based on our life experiences, the influences of the people in the world around us, and they form the basis of our belief systems and our own personal structures and the way that we view and approach situations. In many instances, our filters help us achieve success, but in other aspects, they can be very limiting and self-sabotaging. These filters ultimately shape the way that we show up, and they affect our reactions and responses to situations and people in all aspects of our lives. So the ELI assessment reveals the specific filters that you've developed and how they are influencing your life. It also uncovers the thinking and perceptions that might be creating stress and holding you back from achieving your goals. Now, the ELI measures 2 main elements. The first is your energetic profile, which is your typical energy on a good day. And then it's going to measure the way that you react to stress, your reaction to a perceived stressor in your environment. Now, it's important to see both of these elements because remember, law of vibration principle number 3 is that energy is neither created nor destroyed. So when you are stressed, it is interesting to see where your energy shifts. And by recognizing your reaction to stressors is the first step towards self-awareness, as it reduces the level of stress that you experience when you do trigger. So when we talk about assessing your vibration and frequency, what we're doing is assessing your particular energy. So in order to understand your energetic profile and your stress reaction, we need to talk about what we mean by energy. Now, there are 2 types of energy. We all have both catabolic energy and anabolic energy. So when you think about catabolic energy, I want you to think of it as being the destructive or tearing down force. And that's because catabolic energy is associated with stress, because we actually have a physiological response to stress. And when we perceive a situation as being stressful, our brain creates catabolic hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol. And the purpose of these hormones is to break down the various cells and tissues of the body to give us strength to push through that stressor. Now think about how important this is to survival when we were cavemen back in the day, when we had to run from a bear. These hormones were vital, again, to our survival. But nowadays, many humans are living in these catabolic energies on a daily basis. And it can be very destructive for not only themselves, but for those around them. The other type of energy that this assessment measures is the anabolic energies. And you can think of anabolic energy as constructive energy. It's the building up force, and it's associated with less stress or no stress at all. Now, this energy signals your body to release anabolic hormones, which helps you optimize your body and your mind. And since we are not under stress in our catabolic energy, the result is better focus on solutions. You're able to tap into your creativity and your intuition, and you're able to experience a more complete and conscious view of situations. And when we talk about stress, we can't help but talk about judgment, because these two are very much correlated. Because the less judgment and fear people have about themselves and situations, the more anabolic energy that they can access. The other thing I want to point out here is about your energy is that neither one of these is good or bad or positive or negative, because again, those are all judgments. They both serve a powerful and important purpose for us. And the key is to know if you're experiencing these energies by choice because it serves you, or is it by default because that's what you have learned and that's what you are used to. And it's being able to have that self-awareness and to recognize when you're experiencing stress or catabolic energy. The question lies within, which is what is going on that is creating that within you. So now I want to take a moment to talk about how an ELI master practitioner like myself is able to read your chart. I utilize what is called the energetic self-perception chart. And the energetic self-perception chart takes something as intangible, again, as perception, and makes it concrete. It really bridges that non-physical part of us, of our thoughts, emotions, feelings, and beliefs, and it helps create logic around it so our mind can comprehend what is happening in the inner world. The reality is that the way that we see the world is really based on our perceptions and level of consciousness. And this chart really breaks it down into pieces that can be comprehended. So this model provides that multi-level framework for organizing and understanding how various aspects of energy are integrated in the human experience. The levels represent 7 aspects of a person's core energy makeup, or simply consciousness. And throughout the day, as you experience and respond to circumstances and events that transpire, your core energy shifts. And remember, the law of vibration principle number 2 is that energy is always moving. So this assessment will give you a snapshot of where your energy typically moves when under stress and where it moves whenever you are triggered. Now, when we look at this chart, you can see levels 1 and 2 are associated with catabolic energy. And those are the results, again, of high levels of judgment, which create fear and stress. That's where we are doubting ourselves, where we feel unworthy. So as you move up the ladder, the less stress you're going to bring to any situation. So you can think of it as 1 as the lowest level of consciousness, which is when you're in fear and are a victim to life, and 7 being the highest state of consciousness, which is associated with absolute passion and creation. And the whole point of this assessment is to, again, help you become self-aware of the energetic consequences of your thoughts, emotions, and actions, so you can learn to control your expression of catabolic energy in response to stress in your life. And when you increase your level of anabolic energy, you can wield more influence over the course of your life and positively affect your ability to align yourself to who you truly are, your core truth. So every emotion and thought that you experience can be associated with one of these levels, because again, these are the 7 different filters that you have access to. Then based on your thoughts and emotions, that will dictate how you show up in life. Are you constantly in level 1 where you're tired and lethargic and you don't get anything done? Are you in level 2 where you're angry and defiant? Are you in a state of forgiveness, which leads to cooperation? Or perhaps you're in your higher levels where you're in your state of joy and you're able to share your wisdom with others. Remember, all 7 levels of energy are present in everyone in a different combination. Everyone has a mix of the energies, and the different levels show up in different situations and different combinations. You're not always angry, and you're not always in the state of joy. You fluctuate between all of these energies. So by understanding the energetic self-perception chart and the 7 levels, you can become aware of how the different energy levels show up in yourself, and you can also be able to recognize it and see it in others. So I hope this video was helpful. If you are interested in taking the assessment, you can go to my website at www.iamericakelling.com, or you can email me at info@iamericakelling.com. The assessment takes about 40 minutes to complete, and once I receive your individual results, we can connect either Zoom or we can meet in person if you live close to Scottsdale, Arizona. And it'll take me about an hour to really debrief your results for you. At the end of the session, you'll be able to understand what your E factor is, or what we call your ARL, your average resonating level of energy. It's the average of all of your energy levels under your normal conditions and reaction to stressful circumstances. And there is scientific studies that prove that the higher your ARL of energy, the higher level of satisfaction that people tend to have in 14 different areas of their life, which include financial success, working and family relationships, intimate relationships, personal development, level of engagement at work, leadership ability, communication skills, work-life balance, productivity, feeling of personal freedom, time management, health and wellness, energy level, and of course, spiritual connection. So now you know the science behind the law of vibration and the benefits to increasing your vibrational frequency. When you are consciously choosing your vibration, your emotions are no longer in control of you. You are no longer being reactive to your emotions. And instead, you're better able to respond to them. And again, I can't stress this enough. It really starts with self-awareness. So notice how you're feeling during the day. What are the situations and people that tend to trigger negative emotional states? What are the tasks and activities that don't feel good when you do them? Noticing how you feel is the best way to know when your level of vibration changes from anabolic to catabolic. So to wrap it up, when you can believe in the things that you cannot see, you open yourself up to a whole new world of possibilities. And the law of vibration is invisible, and it's all around us, ready to be tapped into. And then finally, remember these 3 key points. 1, everything is energy. 2, energy is always moving and vibrating, and similar vibrations attract and act in resonance and harmony together. And 3, energy is never created or destroyed. Now, I hope this video was helpful, and I want to thank you for your attention today. Until next time, namaste.